أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ينفعنا وزدنا علما ذكري يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Inshallah ta'ala, you guys are doing well. 1 week of Ramadan, somewhat has passed, so 1 week and a day, if you will. So, inshallah ta'ala, hopefully your fasting is going well. Those who are doing the Quran campaign with me, hopefully you're reading your 10 pages per day. I've been behind with the videos. I know I need to get some of the videos out. But inshallah ta'ala, you're keeping up with your 10 pages a day. And inshallah ta'ala, you're fasting, everything else is going well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and accept your deeds. So we're here with sort of Al-Rahman. So last week we had we just started it, just an intro to it. We went over a couple of ayat. So I'm just going to kind of go back a little bit and refresh what we covered last week, because I know it was I feel like last week was like 2 months ago for some reason. I don't know why, because it seems like so long ago. But inshallah, so we could have a little bit of refresher of what we did last week. So we talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Rahman. And that's the first ayah of the surah, right? And we talked about how that's an incomplete sentence, right? Ar-Rahman. What about Ar-Rahman, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers that sentence or completes that sentence where it says Allama al-Quran, right? And that's the first ayah. So we talked about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to bring a reference into the name of Rahman and then tells you who that Rahman is. What does he do? He teaches the Quran. And then he says what after that? Khalaqa al-insan. And then we talked about why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning that he taught Quran before he created people, right? Because he created, what's the point of teaching people Quran if there's no people, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what he taught the Quran, then he created people. Why? To show you this is the purpose of human creation. It's for us to learn the Quran and to follow it. That's the main essence of it, if you will. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Allamahul bayan," that taught him eloquency in speech. And that is one of the fundamental differences between us and animals, if you will. We know like dolphins, we know whales, they speak to each other, birds speak to each other, but they don't have any eloquency like how humans have, right? And this is the difference between us and them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this eloquency for us to talk and have language and so forth. This is a favor that Allah gave to us. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moves on to his greatness, where he says, the sun and the moon orbit with precise calculations, right? And so the first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about after saying that he taught the Quran, he created people, he taught them eloquency, is that he created the moon and the sun and the moon. And they have precise calculations. And then we talked about a lot of things from that. Now we're able to know the day of the year and time because of the sun and the moon, right? From the sun we know what time the day is. And from the moon we know what day it is in the year, or the calendar, if you will. Without the moon we won't know, right? You'll be lost. You don't know what month it is, right? We all know when the new crescent comes, it's a new month, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this, and it's by precise calculations that it happens all the time. That's why you're able to print those timetables for your prayer for the next 20 years. Because it's the same Salat al-Maghrib for July for the next 10 years. Like it doesn't really change, only by like 1 minute or so, right? Or a couple minutes, I should say, right? So that's why they have certain calculations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. And then here I just want to show you that we all know the sun sets. And I put this little image here, which is kind of cool. Remember I kind of told you last week I'm really into like astronomy. And I think that everyone should learn astronomy, inshallah ta'ala. Hopefully after this class, you guys will be into sciences, and maybe we'll take a field trip or we'll go camping, inshallah ta'ala, because we're going to get so much indulge in the science and the nature and science of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, the sun and the moon have precise calculations. And one thing is the moon has precise calculations, right? The moon has different phases that we know of. We all know the crescent. We don't know the names of anything else other than the full moon and the half moon. But there's a thing called a waxing crescent, and then you have the Gibson, the waning Gibson, that's going back into the different forms. So I put out here how the moon, when it's right at the in front of the sun, we call that a new moon because you can't see it. The sun is shining on the moon here. Us on Earth can't see the moon until it moves slightly over here. Then you see a little crescent because the sun hits the side of it, and then it lights up one side of it. And then it moves on to this side, and that's how you get a half moon. After 7 days, you get a half moon. And then when the moon becomes behind us, you get what? a
Full.
full moon, right? Because the sun is directly on the moon. And then when it comes this side, then it's like a quarter. Once again, it's almost, and then it comes back over here where the moon goes away. And so these are the stages how it has these precise calculations that we're not in touch with it anymore. Because we don't care, we don't have too much, city lights, you can't even see the moon sometimes, there's too much pollution out there, right? But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to get us to attach ourselves to nature. Like I mentioned before last week, the more you're attached to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah created, the more your heart is going to be sensitive to it. So when you go out and you see the moon, you stop, you're like, oh my God, look at the moon, subhanAllah. Before that moon, big deal, let me get back in my car, let me drive to Target or wherever I'm going, right? But now you stop now and you want to look and see, oh, what phase is it now? Right? You want to connect yourself now, right? And that is the whole point of knowing these type of calculations and so forth. You know what's really interesting about the moon also, just a little side point, is that moon is always facing one side to us. Like this is the side of the moon, for example, my hand, right? As the moon goes around the earth, it stays on this side. So you never see what's on the other side. That's what we call the dark side of the moon. I don't know if you guys like Transformers. One of the Transformers movies is called the dark side of the moon. Right? It's a really bad example. So because why? Because the moon turns, but as it's going around the earth, it's turning, and it always keeps us one side. It's amazing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept it that way. So this is something just to ponder on, to know the different type of phases of the moon and so forth. So I decided to put that little image there, so inshallah ta'ala you understand how the phases work. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the plants and the trees prospering. Remember that? We talked about that. So we said that everything has a way of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's a hadith here of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam that said, do you not see that Allah, a verse in the Quran, sorry about that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do you not see that Allah, to Allah prostrates whatever's in the heavens and whatever's in the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the trees, the moving creatures, and many of the people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that everything prostrates or at least worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one thing is that the Arabic word sajda in Arabic means to submit and surrender. The literal word actually means that. Obviously it means to put your head on the ground and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could be saying that the moon and the sun and the trees all submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? That's why they follow a certain order. They don't say, I'm not going to rise today, I'm not going to come up, right? They're obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Us humans are otherwise, if you will. We need to work on that. And then we talked about here, the two verses here, Ash-shamsu wal-qamaru bi-husban, wal-najmu wal-shajaru yasjudan. Remember I told you that these surahs that came down in the Meccan period came down to challenge poets, remember that? And so you have this eloquency in the way that the verses are. So one point I wanted to pick up here is to show you how, this is something you study when you study Arabic poetry, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you look here, Ash-shamsu wal-qamar. And look at the markings of the word. You have fatha, sukoon, dhamma. Then you have fatha, waw, fatha, dhamma. See that? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats that same thing with different words in the next ayah. Where he does the same thing. Fatha, sukoon, dhamma. See this? Same thing. Well, fatha on the waw, fatha, dhamma, fatha. You see? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala picks the same wazn or same balance of the rhyme of the word, right? وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ, right? This differs a little bit. بِحُسْبَانِ يَسْجُدَانِ. Similar, if you will, right? But this is a certain way that the poets will do that. They'll try to make their lines the same balance of the line before it. And that's when you know you're really good. As a poet, you're able to do that and still have meaning what you're saying, right? You're not just saying, gibberish, if you will. So that's kind of a little point there, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the challenges to the poets is try to come up with something as good as this and still have a meaning in it. So I wanted to point out that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about as-sama'a rafa'aha wa wada'al mizan. Right? So Allah talks about here that He has raised the sky and what it contains from. And so one thing is I would talk about what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean by He raises the sky? There's a couple of meanings here. Number one, that there's no pillars there. Right? It's just floating above us. We talked about it last week. And also that Allah raised it, meaning that He exalted it. He honored it. Why? Because from the skies we have angels, and we have commandments, that come down, and of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the skies, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about we have raised the skies. And then look at the verse that comes right after that. Oh, sorry, later on it's going to come. Sorry about that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that He put a balance in there. Talk about justice and so forth. Then Allah tataghaw fil mizan, do not transgress the balance. There's two ways we understand this. Number one, don't be unjust to people. When we talk about weighing the balance, remember we talked about how they used to buy things in the grocery stores, or at least with fruits and vegetables, they used to weigh it. Even rice and barley and stuff like that, they will do that. So don't cheat the scales when you balance. What is the connection here? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just talked about the sun and the moon, right? And then the trees and the plants all prostrate. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about after this, He has raised the sky and do not transgress the balance. And then right here it says, وَلَا تَلْغَوْا فِي الْمِيزَانِ, and do not transgress the balance, if you will. What is the connection between those two portions of verses? We have once again, we have the sun and the moon, trees and plants make prostration. And then we have a set of verses here talking about do not transgress the balance, do not be unjust in your dealings. What is the connection between the two things? What do you think? Remember, this is the Quran. Everything is done in a certain order. It's not just random verses. We're talking about the highest form of eloquency right here. What do you guys think is the connection between the two? وَأَقِيمُوا الْوَزْنَ وَالْقِسْطَ وَلَا تُخْسِرُوا الْمِيزَانَ.
Showing that everything else in the universe is in order, so we should also...
Exactly. Take the example. Look at the stars, look at the sun and the moon. They have certain calculations. They don't transgress amongst each other, right? They keep their balance. So you humans, do the same thing. When you balance and when you be dealing with people, if you will, look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this lesson. Like, try to be as good as the moon and the sun, right? If you guys think you guys are so smart and so forth, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, be balanced in your nature, just how the nature is in balance. So Allah makes you the connection of that. I think that's kind of beautiful. And then here, what is the connection? How the sun and the moon orbit with precise calculations. The plants and the trees submit. The skies have been raised in a balance. Don't transgress. Establish the weight in justice and don't cheat. This is how much we got to last week. So this is the review from last week in case you might have forgotten. So let's move on to the next verses that we have. Any questions from what the mentioned before? I think we're good, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says then the next couple of verses here. وَالْأَرْضَ وَضَعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. Allah has laid down the earth for His creatures. Now what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about the sky? What do you say about the sky? He raised. Now He's talking about the earth, He did what?
Laid down.
Right. It's called tibaq in Arabic. We use opposite words for opposite things. Right? You have the sun, you have the moon, you have black, you have white. Right? You have clean, you have dirty, you have red, you have green. For go, stop. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He raises the sky, but earth, He sets it down. Right? This is all eloquency language. You won't pick this up in English. When you read it, you might not get it. You have to study a little bit of Arabic to understand it. You might get it in English if you really look closely, though. But this is all little subtle things you won't get without taking a Tafsir class or something like that, if you will. That's why you guys are here. So Allah says, the earth, we have placed it down, set it down, lil-anam. Right? What is anam? Let's understand that this is creatures. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has through all His creatures, Allah has placed this earth for us, laid it down for us. This is the main purpose of this earth, from its rivers, from its oceans, from its skies, from its trees. Another sign of this, and you know that I'm kind of big on this point, is that you need to take care of the earth, right? We talked about not using too much plastic, we're talking about recycling, we're not talking about not using too much pollution and so forth, right? That's the earth that we should advocate about for its cleanliness and so forth, and its betterment. All of us Muslims should be quite angry at what Trump recently did with the Paris agreement or accords, how he pulled out and said America's not going to abide by these laws of pollution anymore. We're going to do whatever we do. That should bother you as a Muslim and as an American citizen, right? Because as Muslim, Allah laid down this earth for us. And you try to say, who cares, we don't want to abide by it, we'll do our own pollution and so forth, right? That is something as Muslim we should speak out against, right? This is being a complete Muslim in everything that we do, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He laid this out for His creatures and everything as a livelihood for ourselves. Then He says, فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَالنَّخْلُ ذَاتُ الْأَكْمَامِ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says therein is fruits, trees, or fruits and fruit trees, and palm trees having dhul akmam, right? Oh, dhatul akmam, sorry. Dhatul akmam is talking about, and I put a little picture there, like sheets of dates, like that. If you see there, that, like on the palm tree, I don't know if you guys seen palm trees here in California, we have palm trees, right? The big like sack of dates that are there. I don't know if you guys ever have palm trees in your backyard, all these little things drop. They're not really dates, but like hard rock seeds. You can't really eat those things, right? Anyhow, you wish those was dates, right? So Allah says that He has given you fruits and one palm trees. Number one, the word fakiha in Arabic literally means to like, it means enjoyment, if you will. Like you talk about a joke, you're like, who was Faki? Like he's a funny guy, right? So here that's the same word that's being used for fruits. Why? Because fruits is something you enjoy. You sit there on the beach and you eat your pineapple and your mango and you drink from a coconut, right? The typical paradise type of vacation, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He give you this to relax and to enjoy. And I always tell brothers and sisters, if you want to eat sweets for dessert in Ramadan, eat fruits. Don't eat the sugary baklava and this, kheer, and it has all this processed sugar in it. Just kind of like, if you ever had a really good mango, like khalas, like the best thing in the world. You don't need anything more. The mango is like really good. Allahu Akbar. It's really, really nice from them, right? People like watermelon and stuff. So, and also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this, right? And it's natural sugar, so it's good for your body. We have doctors that can talk about this, right? It's good for your body, right? It's natural sugar. Your body processes it a lot better, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about He puts fruits. And then He put palm trees. Is dates a fruit?
Yeah.
It's a fruit. So hold on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, remember, when we look at the ayah here in this Tafsir class, we look with the critical eye, right? We want to examine everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He gave us fruits and gave us palm trees that has a lot of dates in it. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, didn't He cover palm trees and dates in the first word, fruit? He said He gave us fruits. So why do you have to mention palm trees now with dates in it? Right? Why do you have to mention dates? That's already covered in the word fruits, right? So for example, if I say I want all of you guys to study and daily, just make sure you guys study hard. Why would I point him out, additionally? Because is he included in everybody? If I say I want all of you and Dalen to come next week to class, why would I separate his name from all of you? Why would I do that? Emphasis. Maybe he needs to come. Maybe he's like wishy-washy. He's thinking in some time. So he needs another, little push if he wants to come. So here, this is what we call in Arabic is mentioning something specific after mentioning something general. Okay. Once again, this is like rhetorical lessons here. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it could be for emphasis or it could be something special about this. Make sure all you guys pray every day and Salatul Fajr. Why would I say that for? Because maybe Salatul Fajr has some kind of special reward in it. Maybe because we know it's hard to pray, right? That's why I single it out. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He gave a fruit and date palms. So there's something special in dates, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to tell you like there's some kind of key in this type of fruit. Now we all know that dates, we all know, alhamdulillah, that it has a lot of benefits in it, has a great way to break your fast, all these, different things that you can do. It's one of the superfruits that people like to say about, along with mangoes and other things like that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts it out or mentions it out separately because there's some type of special emphasis on it. And inshallah we should take and we should think about when we eat, and there's sort of blessings in it and so forth that we can do. Right? So I just want you to point on that. And then the next ayah, which I don't have here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْحَبُّ ذُو الْعَصْفِ وَالرَّيْحَانِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we have given you grains that have husk on it and scented plants. Okay. So here is that, what are grains that have husk on it? Anyone know what a type of grain that have husk on it? I put an example there. Other than wheat and barley, what has husk also? You guys know what a husk is? Something you peel off of it, right? So like peas, exactly. Corn, you're gonna say corn. I know you guys, we all know corn, you have to peel it out. Usually buy in the grocery store. It's already there. I tried planting corn in my backyard last year. I had like 6 corn trees. They're kind of cool, like really tall, but they didn't come out really well. They get pollinated. They get pollinated, but anyhow, so that's a big process. But alhamdulillah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He gave us grains that have husk on it. Why do you think Allah mentioned this? Remember, if Allah was going to mention a fruit, it must be something special. He could have said beef, chicken. I give you guys, corn. I could give you guys, which just kind of covers corn. Give you guys whatever, chocolate, right, cocoa. Why do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned these things that have husk on it, barley and bread and wheat and so forth?
Well, health-wise, there are benefits. There are a lot of fiber in it.
Very good. Fiber is good,
Good
right?
for your stomach.
Very good. Help for digestion. Metamucil, people like Metamucil because they need that to get that fiber. We get constipated and so forth, different things, if you will. Another thing, this is a staple food. Everyone uses these grains, wheat and barley, for what? Your rotis, your naan, your tortillas, your bread, right? Your hamburger buns, right? We all do this type of things, right? And so this is like the essence of what we call staple foods that people use. Like in Egypt, you have to eat bread. Like everything is like bread, right? It's one of the cheapest things that go on. It's something that's natural. Everyone eat it with everything. And there's one teacher, he took bread and ate it with a watermelon. I don't know, it's something Egyptians do, some different things, right? And they also eat it with cheese. This thing, they eat it with cheese and everything else. Anyhow, right? They love their bread, right? And so one thing is that this is a staple food Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also one thing is that because the husk that's on it, it protects it, so you can store it for a very, very long time, right? You can keep your barley, rice for a very, very long time. So rice you can keep for like almost like years to extent, right? And so that's why I actually encourage a lot of you guys to eat brown rice. It actually still has called hull on it. It's better for you. It's more it's easier for you. It doesn't have much sugar and starch in it. So try to eat brown rice, inshallah ta'ala. It's another kind of a diet point here, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this, that this is one of the essential natures. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the right hand. Right? Sometimes we know people in the community in front, right hand, we call it different names, if you will, different format of this name. So what is right hand? Right hand is anything that's sweet, that has a sweet smell to it, which is like flowers, right? Jasmine, you guys know jasmine flowers and so forth, or lilies, right? Allah gave you these type of things that you could use, and also sometimes people use lavender. If they can't sleep really well, they have lavender oil, right? These type of things, so there's benefits in it. Peppermint, right? Put on your nose if you have a stuff like Vicks, right? These type of things. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that He gave us these type of things also. So once again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this whole surah is about Al-Rahman, the most merciful person. Why is He so merciful for? Because He gave you all these different things. I know what you're saying. Like, I don't see like much like benefit in a lot of these things. I don't know, my heart is not like dropping because of these verses, right? And the reason why is because we're so detached from these type of things. That's why I said, like, plant corn in your backyard. Plant, and you'll see how hard it is to do, and how much it takes to get one corn, and every kernel to come out right. Like the corn I planted, like only like one row came out, and the rest of the rows were like rotten because it didn't get pollen. So we just take it for granted. When we go to Albertsons, we buy it, and they put it in your car. Everyone buys a basket, a whole bag of rice. We don't care how it was actually came out from the ground, right? And that's what I was telling the brothers, the khutbah I was doing about eating and not wasting food, is that if you would just research how much it takes one grain of rice to grow from the ground. You have to plant it, it grows up, someone has to pick it, then they have to take out the husk, right, and the hull, then they have to wash it, then they have to package it, ship it to Albertsons, to Vons, then you have to buy it, and then you have to wash it again, and then you have to boil it, and then you have to curry it and do everything else in it, and then you have to give it to your child on his plate, and he says, Mom, I don't want no more rice, I'm hungry. Just throw it away. And then that rice goes in the trash. The whole process for that one little grain of rice to go right back into the trash can. And how much grain of rice do we throw away? Oh, it's just rice, not chicken, brother, big deal, no water. Just throw it away, it's like 1 spoon of rice left. Just throw it away, no one's gonna eat it. Like, are you serious? If you would know how much that grain got to your plate, you wouldn't see it, right? And that is being ungrateful to who? Ar-Rahman. Right? This surah is going to teach you to soften your heart for these things. And this is what helped me a lot. For me, I'm like, big deal. I read this surah, I don't feel anything. What? Husk and sweet plants that smell good, and and fruits. Like I don't care. I like my hamburgers, and I like my fries, and I like my ribs. Like that. A lot of them are talking about ribs here, right? And so the thing is that we're not connected to these things, and when we wonder why when we read the Quran, we don't feel it. Right? And I think that's why one thing when I tell people when they study Quran, tell them to study Tafsir, is like when you study Tafsir, like you have to like either be a farmer, or you have to go study. You have to go visit a farm and see how animals are treated and how plants are grown, and then you would appreciate Allah's creation and a little bit. You will soften. And I really encourage parents to take your kids and see these type of things, because this is something Allah has made. And the thing is, though, we're only surrounded with man-made things, and I mentioned this last week. This computer here, it's amazing, HD screen. Okay, I got a 4K screen on this laptop, right? I can go on the internet. I got everything. I got an awesome phone. It's like the biggest screen ever. I got this HDMI cord. It's so cool. I don't even know how this thing works. And so what happened, we're not in touch with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. We're in touch with these things. So we honor mankind more than who? In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And without you guys knowing that, we're getting brainwashed this way. It's not like the tricks of shaitan. We're not against technology, right? But you have to anchor yourself on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. Or else you're going to be oblivious to it. When you enter the grave, say, who cares about a grain of rice with husk? Who cares about food? Like, big deal, right? And you'll die in this state. Believe me, majority of the world is dying in this state. No one really cares about when they read these ayats. That's why kids say, Mom, I want to read the Quran, I don't feel anything. Forget about kids, adults when they say this. It's boring. The Quran is boring. You know why it's boring? Because your heart is so hard. The ayat is knocking on the door, and your heart's like, get out of the way, we don't feel anything. We don't care about it. And this is a problem. And so you have to read these ayat, and you have to force yourself to go out and look at the sun. And force yourself to go out and look at the moon and see how great it is. And force yourself to plant a tomato plant in your backyard. I have like 6 of them in my backyard. I'll give you one if you want. My wife bought this 6-pack plant. I don't know why. So we don't place it anymore, so it's all growing on the patio. We actually have tomatoes growing on there now, right? And so you have to connect yourself to it. All right? That's why I almost spend you have to be like me, but I spend like 20 minutes every day watering my plants in the backyard. I sound like a grandma, I know. I feel like I'm like 60 years old already, right? But it connects me so much more to see actually that the first apricot it's growing now, right? And I see that I have like a bunch of I have like 20 eggplants like growing in my tree, right? I don't really care about eggplants. It's not like my favorite thing, right? But anyhow, it's growing, right? We have parsley, we have cilantro, we have green onions, we have a mango tree. Inshallah, one of these days you'll get mangoes in it, right? And so it's just beautiful to see these type of things. It connects you, it grounds you. But you have to get yourself to that point. And this is how you have to soften. Or else you're going to be stuck in this mode because Quran is boring, right? Because look at this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't He the greatest in terms of the words He picks? Isn't He the greatest? He is using this to give da'wah to people to worship Him. This is what He's using. He's not talking about look at electronics or something. He's using what He created. This is the way Allah did it. This is not Shahid's way. I'm not telling you to grow tomato plants just because this is my methodology. This is what Allah's trying to do. He's a wake up humans, look what I did, look what I created. Okay? Be appreciative of it. And this will be the way that you'll connect to me. These are the persons, this is what Allah picked. Right? He's the greatest of the way to pick things, so therefore we should take a lesson of it, inshallah. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this, all these grains and and different things. Another thing is, if you guys like Arabic, I'll give you a little Arabic point here. So the word says al-habudul asfi. The grain is the word hab, and asf means the husk, right? And so the word from asafa in Arabic means like wind, right? Asif means like a windy storm. Why is it called wind for? Because if you ever see like wheat or these like plants like that when they grow and the wind blows them, they make like a chattering sound. They all hit each other, right? And so that's where they get that name from, because when they have that sound, if you will. That's a little bit of Arabic point. Those who are studying Arabic, and then inshallah you benefit from it. Right. Another thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here in the very next ayah, He says, the very famous verse of this surah, فَبِأَيْ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So this is not Shahid saying it now. This is your Lord saying it. Which of the favors of that husk, of the grains, of the fruits, of the sun, of the moon, all these things do you deny? This bounties I give you, I've given you, right? A lot of people said we deny. We're like, what's the big deal? The moon comes up, the moon comes out. What's the big deal? Like, why are you getting so crazy, right? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this. So which of the favors of you deny? Here, if you know the Arabic, all the English translation of this ayah is wrong. Rarely do you see a correct translation here. It should read, which of the favors from both of your lords do both of you deny? It should be a dual. Those who know Arabic, the word kuma and kadhiban is in a dual form. You use this when you talk to two people, right? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, which of the favors of both of your lords, for example, if I'm talking to Brother Mahmoud or Brother Anthony, from both of your lords to both of you guys deny. Right? So why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking in the dual form? Right? There's a couple ways that the scholars have talked about this. They said number one, Allah is talking to the jinn and to mankind. Remember we talked about the hadith last week that the Prophet ﷺ went out and spoke to the jinn and said, came back and told the Sahaba that I met a group of jinn and I recited Surah Al-Rahman to them, right? Because it was addressing them, mankind and jinn. The whole Quran addresses the jinns, but here it's more like specific to people. Another opinion of some of the scholars that said that no, it's addressing believers and non-believers. For both of your Lord, those who believe and those who don't believe. Right? That's one of the ways that we can understand this verse here. So here, denying the grace and blessings of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, an expression of refusal or rejection of it being from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So denying the grace and blessings of these type of things is rejecting Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So this scholar, this is from a Tafsir here, that he's saying that when you reject these type of things and you're not grateful, as if you're rejecting Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, which is a very big statement, right? Because whoever gives you something and you don't take a gift from them, it's like we don't care about you. It's like when your mom or some of you guys have kids come and give you a gift and they give you a shirt you don't like. You're like, oh, thank you, and you put it away and you don't wear it. How do they feel? They feel rejected. Dad, I give you this shirt, you don't ever wear it. Dad, Mom, I give you this pants, you don't ever wear it. They're gonna feel like as if you don't care about it and it's a worthless gift. That's exactly what happens when we don't give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. As if we tell Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Right? Obviously, that's what the sign that's being sent out. So the meaning here is the bounties that are clear and manifest upon you, and you are indulged and immersed in it, so to the point that you cannot deny or reject. Right? All of us eat fruits every day, at least we should. Right? Everyone eats rice, everyone loves biryani and so forth. Those have husk in it, right? Everyone likes bread, right? Your rotis and your naan and your hot dog buns and so forth, right? So this is something that you should stop and thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala next time you eat your piece of bread, inshallah, right? If you get like this, you have a heart that's alive. It's alive, it's like soft, man. And that's that's amazing if you do that, inshallah. Right? So there's a couple things here. One thing is that Imam Qurtubi, rahimahullah, his tafsir, he mentioned here, it's not the word favors, is not what's understood here. It's a word qudra, which means ability. Which of the abilities of your Lord that you do not? Right? All of us has so much abilities to do so many things and capabilities. Which of the capabilities of your Lord that you're denying? Or you associate partners with Him in these types of things? Right? And so that's the one thing that we want to look at and think about when we go here. Then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ كَالْفَخَّارِ. Did Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala talk about creating mankind already? No? Al-Rahman, علم القرآن, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said that He already created mankind. Now He's saying that we created man from clay like that of pottery. Now why is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala repeating that for? You guys are all super intelligent. You guys are mufassirin. You guys do Tafsir of Quran. You guys are scholars, as you took my class, right? So why is Allah repeating it twice now? Is it because you guys forgot? Probably. Why is it? Emphasis is Brother Dylan's number one answer.
I mean, I can tell the point you're getting to, but it's because it's not necessarily talking about us, we're talking about Adam, right? So,
Good, talk about Adam.
it's like the same as when you mentioned all the fruit trees and then specified the dates. It's kind of like,
Okay.
or as you mentioned everyone, and now he's specifically talking about.
So before we was talking about everyone, now he's specifically talking about Adam alayhi salam. Okay, good, yeah, I understand. Very good. Anyone else?
Origin of human beings.
Origin.
As a reminder of where we started.
So what was the first one about? The first mentioning of creating a being. What was that purpose for?
He's created every single one of us here right now.
It came from the ayah, Al-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, taught the Quran, khalaqa al-insan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he said that we created human beings the first time, we created for human beings, the main purpose was for us to worship Him. So Allah, the first time, was talking about the purpose of the creation. It's like the verse in Surah Dhurriyyat. مَا خَلَقَ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Dhurriyyat, I have not created jinn or mankind except to worship me. Allah gives us a purpose. Sometimes when you saw people on the street or your friends at work and ask them, what's your purpose in life? They're like, I know, I never answered that question before. I don't know. To get married and have kids and vacation and go see the world. You know, go to Hawaii and then go to Russia and then, go to, to the beach and so forth. That's the purpose of your life? Yeah. Right? Some people think that. But Allah telling you what your purpose in this life is for you to worship Him. That's it. The beaches and, vacation and Hawaii is all in Jannah. Don't worry. It'll be 10 times better. Right? It's not going to be like, raw sewage in the beach and so forth in Jannah. It'll be nice, clear water and stuff. You can still go to Hawaii. I'm not saying it's wrong to go to Hawaii. Right? So anyhow. So Allah Ta'ala, the first time we're talking about the purpose of creation. Now we're talking about how He created us. Why would Allah talk about how He created us for? What's the whole emphasis of the surah?
To let us know where we coming or what we made of.
What we made of, why?
Make us humble.
Humble.
This whole surah is like waking up mankind. Hey, get your head out of the TV and out of your laptop and your tablet and start thinking about how I created you and be thankful a little bit and soften your heart a little bit. This whole surah is about like, hey, wake up. Look at fruits. I made you fruits. I made you grains. I know you don't care about them and you think it's a big deal. I go to Vaughn's and there's like fruits every time. There's apples there the whole year. Back in the day, apples only come at a certain time, season, and then you don't get apples again. Right? And Egypt was the only time I experienced this. There's only bananas at a certain time, then you don't get it. Mangoes are only a certain time, and then you don't get it. Right? Because everything's kind of local. They don't have enough money to import it and so forth like that. Even though I did find Washington apples in the market in Egypt, I thought that was really funny. I didn't come over to Egypt to buy Washington apples. Right? I don't even Washington apples when I'm in California. Right? So anyhow, so here now is talking about the origins for you to understand where you came from and be thankful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He created man from clay like pottery. And just like Brother David said, did Allah create us from clay? Somewhat of a trick question. Are we created from clay?
Well, the first human beings were created.
So who was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really talking about? Adam. You guys came from your mom and your dad. You didn't come out of a little clay guy that came out of your mom and then you had to like wake you up and rub you and then you became alive. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Adam to let you know what your origins is and to be thankful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He created man from clay. Right? Not soil. So here I have to go into a whole different thing of how did Allah create us. So soil means that it's a dry type of clay. Right? We all know pottery here. You guys ever done this like in your high school or something like that? Right? You take a thing and you make it, right? So a lot of times He created us just like how pottery is created. Forms us and makes it into a shape. That type of clay. And then a lot of times it makes it this type of clay. Clay is like this baked clay. That's what's called sol. Now what does sol literally mean? It means like hollow. Sol literally means like when you hit it, it makes a ringing sound. Right? Why? Because when clay pots, if you hit it, it's hollow and it makes an echoing sound, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you of this type of clay. Now does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, does He mention other ways that we were created? Anyone know any other verses where Allah said how He created us? Do you only talk about this dry clay, or do you talk about other things? Anyone know any other verses?
Drop of water.
Drop of water, very good. He created everything from water, not just us. Allah mentioned everything comes from water. That's why the NASA scientists are really big about trying to find water in Mars. Because if you could find water in another planet, that means most likely there's life there. Even though if it's a little organism, right? That's why. But Allah mentioned that in the Quran, everything has been made from water. Now this pottery, do you need water to make clay like that? Yeah, no. Right? You need to mold it. You have to get it to make it mushy, if you will, right? So everything has water in it. That's true. What else Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created us with? How about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثْلِ آدَمَ خَلَقَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ قُلْ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the similarity of Adam, that Jesus to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like Adam. He created him from turab, from dirt. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that we're created from dirt. So there's a bunch of different things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that in the Quran. There's about 6 or 5 different things. We'll go over them so we know that where we came from, inshallah ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He mentions here that He created us from dirt and mud. وَإِذَا قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَلَائِقُ الْبَشَرَ مِنْ طِينٍ. So Allah said He created us from teen. What is teen? Teen is mud. Don't say teen. Teen means fig. So Allah didn't create us from fig, right? Or else we'll be really mushy. We'll be like really sweet and there are a lot of ants eating us or something like that, right? But teen with a qa means mud. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He created us from mud, if you will. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in another surah, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَلٍ مَسْنُونٍ. Allah said that He created us from sound clay, the word sal, right here. But hamalin masnoon. What is hamalin masnoon? Altered black mud. I don't know if you ever guys played with clay or mud before. Maybe we go back to your kid days, right? And then when you play with mud, and when it starts getting dry, it starts turning black a little bit. Maybe not all the time, but it starts getting kind of sticky because the water is coming out of it, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He created with this also. So there's numerous things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. So here I listed it here. Number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created us from dirt. So He took dirt. Then He made it into mud, put water in it. Then He made it to sticky mud. When you start mixing in it, it starts getting dry, it starts sticking on your hand. We all know that. When you put your hand in the mud, it gets on your hand. You see kids, they like, you got some mud on their hand. And then it starts getting a little dark. If you keep on rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, it's a little dark. And then you use that to make it into a clay form. And these are the stages Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that He created Adam. Now, what is the significance of Allah mentioning all these type of things? Once again, if you're like me, and probably everyone else in this room, you're like, I don't understand why Allah mentioned all these things. It's not making me fall on the ground, making me sujood. I don't feel like more thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not feeling it. But why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why did He mention all these different states for? What's the significance of that? One thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing you the delicacy, the time, the effort, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't get tired out, to make mankind, to make me. The honor that Allah gave you, to take all these different steps and mention it, to get us to this form that we're in now, right? And this is Allah, one of the greatest creation that He ever created was us humans. That's why He made the angels bow down to us, at least the Adam alayhi salam, if you will. So this is showing you the delicacy, the time, the precious nature Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took to make me and you, to make Adam alayhi salam. Now the thing is this, because now we're in like a critical thinking world now. This really everyone's really skeptical of verses of the Quran. Now, is it true that if you take our body parts out and you examine it and you test it, is there any science that humans are made from clay? Is there any scientific research that actually said that if you test human blood or their flesh, there's traces of clay in it? There's actually Cornell University, they have a biomedical department. There's an article that came out a couple years ago. I have a link to it if you guys want it. And it said they did research and they said that there's some proof that humans have some type of clay that they were made from. Because clay is something that's very porous. It like takes in a lot of, it sucks in like material and so forth. And it's able to suck in material that ends up making protein and DNA and so forth, right? So they actually found this in the research that they did, which is also biblical. But in the Bible it says that God made humans from clay. It's not just a Muslim belief, right?
Can I add one more point to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
In terms of like the beginning of life, when life first started, in terms of science, there's many theories, and then an upcoming theory is it's called the organic stew or organic pool theory, where basically there was a lot of organic matter, and then there was energy in it, and from that came life. But then the way that they described organic matter was just mud. It was mud that had all this stuff in it, and from that, then life came out.
Interesting. So they said if you take mud and you look into it, it has like the carbon in there, it has different things that we're made from, right? And so it's interesting. So scientifically, there's proof. Like I say, there's proof in there, at least from this research that we have, or other things that Brother Maltese was mentioning, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala obviously is saying the truth. The Muslims, we wouldn't disbelieve it. But anyhow, to show that yes, that we did come from this process, which is pretty awesome. And then you have this hadith here the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. It was mentioned that I heard the Messenger of Allah ﷺ say that Allah SWT created Adam from a handful of dirt, or a handful of earth, right? And the sons of Adam, me and you, come from earth. That's why some of them are red, some of them light skin meaning. Some of them are white. They use the word white meaning yellow, like kind of like yellow skin, right? Which is kind of maybe like Asian and so forth, right? And then some of them are dark, black, and then some of them are in between. You got the like brown and so forth, and so, all these different colors. And some of them are easy, because some of the earth is very soft and easy to form. And then some of them are difficult, right? Sometimes like it's so hard. You get like this, rock type soil, if you will. And then some of them are evil, and then some of them are good, right? And this is the reason why we have all the differences in it, because we were taken from this earth, and earth has all these different components in it. So it's quite interesting also. This hadith in Tirmidhi, and you can look up that hadith and understand it, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu talks about this, how we were made. And then Allah subhanahu talks about how He created jinn. Where it says, خَلَقَ الْجَانَّ مِن مَارِجٍ مِن نَارٍ. That He created jinn from smokeless flame of fire. So there's a couple things here that we need to talk about. So the word is, what is the word jan? Okay, we know the word jinn. What is jan? Urdu, they have the word like jan.
Right.
Life. So no, but what is, you said the word, no, what does jan mean? So we know jinn is like, jinn or jinn, like it leads to the jinn. So what is jan? Right? Not Jane, that's a girl's name. What is jan? Right? So jan here, a couple of scholars have mentioned, what does jan mean? Number one, they said jan is the name of the species of jinn. Just like humans are called what? Human beings. Or mankind. Right? So they said jinn, the name for the species of jinn are called jan. And then another opinion is that the father of the jinn, his name, or her name, or whatever you want to call it, is Jan. And another opinion is Iblis is the father of the jinn. Just like Adam alayhi salam was the father of mankind, they said that Iblis, Shaitan, right, was the father of the jinn. It's one that they don't understand. Because Allah SWT talking about the origins, right? Over here, Allah SWT talking about the origins of mankind, that He created from clay. So now Allah SWT talking about the origins of jinn. The first jinn that was created, how was he created? From smokeless fire. Okay. And so what is marrijin min nar? So there's a couple of opinions here. What does that mean?